When you're small, you don't feel like you have any value, but you have such a tremendous amount of value, even as a small creator. They're looking for these small creators to take advantage of. And if you're not smart with it, and I wasn't smart with it, you will get taken advantage of like crazy.
This is Gabi Suarez. She went from professional beautician to full-time hair and beauty creator, making over $300,000 in 2023. Gabi found success as an award-winning makeup and hairstylist with 17 years of experience in the fashion, television, editorial, and commercial industry. YouTube gave her a way to teach her one-off clients how to feel and be their best every day without having to go to the salon. Armed with the right tools, process, and products, Gabi has skyrocketed to financial success by guiding her millennial and older viewers to be their most stylish self. In this episode, we are going to discuss how she got started on YouTube to help people, not make money. The massive necessity to know your audience by studying them and their needs. What to look for in a manager. Her expansion to Instagram because she ran out of sponsorship opportunities on her YouTube channel, and sadly, dealing with being taken advantage of. Gabi shares her secrets to creating a beautiful life fueled by YouTube, no matter where you are in life. Becoming a full-time YouTuber is the dream, but how can you financially get there? Welcome to The Funded YouTuber, where we sit down with successful YouTubers to dive headfirst into the money-making side of being a full-time YouTuber and creator. We will be breaking down their paths to full-time income, sharing struggles, exposing their victories, and literally mapping out their income streams, how they got them, and what they are working on next. The Funded YouTuber is brought to you by GigaStar. Inspired by YouTubers like you with the vision to fuel human creativity, GigaStar brings creators and investors together. The beauty industry is one of the biggest industries I think that we find female creators wanting to thrive and grow in. And our friend Gabi today is going to be breaking down for us how she has been able to successfully do this. I am so excited for this conversation. So Gabi, welcome to the Funded YouTuber podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored you asked me.
Why did you start creating on YouTube?
So I've been a hair and makeup artist for 17 years, and I worked on set, I worked in fashion editorial, commercial, television. I also was a hairstylist, a licensed hairstylist. I had clients. And so I had a lot of experience and an enormous amount of knowledge in the beauty space. And when I started my channel, I actually started it because I wanted to help my clients with the questions that they were constantly asking me. So I'd have a client in my chair, I would do their hair, and they would just love it, and they would go home and want to recreate it, and they couldn't. So they would text me, I really want to do it, but I can never get it to look the way that you get it to look. And it was really hard for me to explain to them how to do it without visually showing them, because beauty is a very visual thing. So when I started the channel, I really started it as a way to help clients get the looks that we were doing for them in the salon or in studio on themselves at home. And then it just grew and grew, and it became a whole thing in and of itself. And now I do it full time.
What was the path to becoming a full-time YouTuber? Like, when was your first taste of income that you had, and what were the circumstances that allowed for you to go full-time?
So it was definitely not an easy road. I wouldn't say I was an instant success by any means. It took me a full year of posting once a week to even get to 1,000 subscribers. And then it took me another full year to get to 10,000. You're really not making hardly any income when you're that small, if any income at all. When you start first getting that AdSense revenue after 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours, you're making very little money, like a few $100s here and there. So those first 2 years, it really was like a passion project. And it was really, I went in with the intention of helping my clients and helping people, and the people that found it that weren't clients, it was like a bonus, you know? And then slowly what started happening is that I started generating a lot of views, and I started generating a lot of subscribers. And there was this moment where I kind of started to understand what the viewer wanted to see and how to best help them. And that's when the channel went from like less than 20,000 subscribers to over 100,000 in about 5-ish months. And then that's when the income really started coming in. And the main form of income was coming in from AdSense revenue. In the beauty space, we really do have a great conversion of views to revenue from AdSense. So I was making a pretty decent amount of money. And so what I started doing is that every time YouTube AdSense revenue was enough money to replace a salon day, I would cut a salon day, and on that day, I would just work on YouTube. So it started off, I was in the salon Monday, or Monday to Saturday really. And then I would cut out Tuesday. So I was in the salon Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I worked on YouTube Tuesday. And I did that for a while. And then when that revenue started becoming 2 days of salon revenue, I cut out another day. And so I built that up really slowly. And then eventually I was only in the salon 1 day a week and then doing YouTube all the other days because it made more sense financially to do YouTube than to work on clients. And then when everything switched over is when the teeter switched to YouTube, that's when I closed the business down.
How long did that take you to do from like the idea of like, so you said like you had identified what viewers wanted to see, you were able to like double down on that and really see growth. And because you had a good CPM within your AdSense, you were able to replace a day. How long did that journey take you?
Yeah, so I started YouTube in 2018 and I was only able to shut the business down in 2021. 3 years. And I would never, ever, ever missed a week. Like I wasn't casual about it. It was 3 very intentional years of working my butt off, staying up till 1 a.m. editing. You know, I was really giving it all of my effort every single week for 3 years.
Why? What was it about YouTube that made you want to make such a dedication to finding success on that platform?
There's a few different reasons. For one, I have such a passion for the beauty industry in general, and it's about, so as a stylist, I know that when you help someone feel like they look better on the outside, it changes everything about them. It changes how they present themselves, how they feel on the inside, what events they attend. Like it really can have a huge impact on the wellness of their life, you know? And for me, like I saw that in 17 years of doing clients. I would work with women. Like I'd go to a wedding, for example, I would do a mother of the bride and a grandma of the bride. And this grandma is like 75. She's kind of forgotten about herself physically for so long. She's so busy taking care of everyone else. And giving them a little time and then showing the mirror to them and having them be like, oh my goodness, you know, that to me, I felt like that was my superpower in life. And I loved doing that on an individual one-on-one basis. But YouTube is really powerful because you're not doing it for one person. You're doing it for millions of people. You know, my channel has I believe it's almost at 50 million views now. And so I've impacted and changed the way that people see themselves, but I've also given them the power to do it themselves. You know, there's a saying, don't catch someone a fish, teach them how to fish. And I feel like YouTube is the way that I teach women how to fish, because it's so much more powerful for me to do that and give them the skills than for me to go to their house once and have them feel great. You know, I want them to feel great every day.
So you decided to double down onto YouTube because of how you were helping other women feel differently about themselves. And so like your commitment to your audience is what allowed for you to commit to doing YouTube in the way that you did?
For sure. That was the main reason. Like, I think some people go into YouTube with a financial goal thinking that they're going to be rich. And I think that's a very bad reason because YouTube is an enormous amount of work and there's no guarantee that you're going to make it. So my purpose wasn't financial. It was like a different mission. It was serving people mission, not a personal financial goal.
That's really interesting because I find that in order for people to stick to something, it usually has to have some sort of monetary commitment to it to allow for it to be long term. Did you reach a point within what you were doing where you realized, I'm going to commit to doing this every single week, not just because of the positive output I'm able to give to help women, but also because I'm also getting paid to do this as well. So it allows for doing it to make more sense.
I know what you're saying, and yes, that's why for me it was this organic path though, right? Because when I started making money, I started cutting client days. So the money definitely encouraged me to continue, but only really because it gave me more time to continue because I have a family and a mortgage and I have to pay my bills. So if I had to keep working full-time as a stylist and creating videos and not getting paid, I think I would have burned out because it's too much work, right? So the money gave me the time to continue, but the money wasn't the incentive to continue, if I'm being completely honest.
I think that's an important distinction. Like, I talk a lot when I'm educating people and talking on stage. It's like money might be the reason that we do something, but if we don't have a solid reason as to why we're doing it, it's not going to be fulfilling. I know that I love to create because I love helping people. Like, doing this podcast is so fulfilling for me, and I love getting to do it because I get to help other creators on this journey with this specific topic that so many creators are trying to figure out how to navigate, which is, I love doing this thing, but I am just struggling with the income part of it. How do I get there? So being able to explore the different journeys is so fulfilling and cool. And I get to learn and I get to help along that journey. So being paid to do this is definitely a great part, but the why is what's going to allow for us to do it. That's why there's so many people out there that are miserable at their jobs, but they do it because they have to get a paycheck. I think the successful YouTubers are able to have success because they're balancing both.
Yeah, for sure. There has to be a greater goal or you will quit. Like if you're just doing it for the money, if you're not seeing income for a year and you're spending an enormous amount of time, you're pulling all-nighters, you'll eventually be like, what is the point of this? You know what I mean? Like it has to be bigger than that. It has to be, or you will not continue with it.
I think that's a really interesting point that you made. So like we talked about, you have to have a why and an income, but I almost feel like if we had like a third circle, you know, like we have like the circles that all overlap, you also have to be able to show success and growth at the same time.
Yeah.
Now, what did you do to help you get to the next step of success and growth that allowed for you to grow and succeed financially?
There are a few things that I think you really have to think about. For one, it's coming up with ideas that are broad enough that enough people want to watch it. So I feel like sometimes people say niche down, and I understand why they say that, and I understand how that helps with growth. But if you niche down so much, you tap out, right? There's only a certain amount of people that want to watch it. So what I started doing and what really led to the growth is I started thinking about women as this broad category, and I started making videos that affected all of them. So like things like eyeshadow colors that bring out the most flattering eyeshadow colors that bring out your eye color. And so I went through every eye color, blue, green, brown, and I talked about complementary colors and what brings out one color from the next and different ideas. I popped up tons of photos. I showed different palettes that worked with different eye colors. And that kind of idea is like, hey, this is an idea. Every woman in the world who is a makeup wearing woman is gonna wanna watch this video if it's properly packaged with a super strong thumbnail and a super strong title and a great hook so that there isn't drop off at the beginning. It was only when I started making these like broad videos that I knew every woman would wanna click on that I really escalated my views.
I love that. But you serve a specific demographic of women though at the same time, right? Like you have some level of focus in who you're talking to.
Yeah, so my demographic is aged like 40 to 65. So I don't have a young audience at all. And I make a lot of videos on aging and how to enhance or decorate yourself as you get older. What are the products that are best for that? So I have an audience, but the content and the topics, not all of them, but a lot of them are more general to reach like a bigger core group.
I think it's important too, like to have a specific audience that has all relevant information that it serves. Like you're focusing on helping women 40 to 65 with all different areas of how to look what their version of their best is. And I think that that's a really powerful point. What else were you able to do to build a really focused audience that would ultimately buy from you or that other people would want to have access to?
Yeah, I think something that's really important, that's really, really important, that isn't given enough attention is building community. And the way that you build community is you need to understand how to speak to the people that you're talking to and make them feel close and connected with you. Like I really do study my audience avatars, who I see as my audience. They all have a name. I have like a whole booklet, you know, there's Jan, who's 40 years old. She's starting to see fine lines and wrinkles. Her kids are getting a little older. It's easier for her to have a little more time for herself. That's a different audience avatar as like Glenda, who's 65. She's retiring or has retired. Her kids are grown up. She has all the time in the world for herself. So this group of women, I have like subcategories of women within these women, and I know exactly who they are, how they shop, what they're worried about. I study them a lot. I study them by looking at other creators that create content for them, what they're talking about in the comment section, how they're talking to each other, what generation they're from, what was popular in that generation, what looks were trending when they were young. You know what I mean? Like I know them so well that when I create my scripts for my videos, I talk to them so that they know I get them. And I also do a lot of like trigger questions to get them to talk to each other in the community, like in the comment section. So I'll say things like, you know, aging can be really difficult when you start not recognizing yourself in the mirror, because you're all in your mind, you're your younger self, and you look in the mirror and you're someone different. And I know they feel that way. I don't feel that way because I'm young. But one day I'll feel that way, and I know they feel that way because I read their comments and I can see them talking to each other on other forums that aren't just my community. So when I talk to them through the lens that way, they feel like I get them, they feel connected, and then I'll ask these triggering questions like, what's your favorite part of aging? Because I really want to make this a super positive space. And because I always kind of flip things to the positive, like we're struggling with this right now, but there are amazing things about getting older as well. And what are your favorites? And then they start communicating with that in the comments. They start building community, and it's the community that builds the trust, and it's the trust that leads to sales.
No, I think that that's highly under remembered and highly underdone as well. So I think that's a great point to emphasize. Now, one of the things I know about you is that you actually have a manager that helps you with sponsorships and stuff. Can you share with us that journey? Like, why did you hire them? What was it about them that allowed for you to hire them? And what has it been like for you since they have taken over the sponsorship portion of your business?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I know managers get a lot of bad rap. And so this is why I decided to hire a manager in the first place. After the channel hit 100,000 subscribers, I was getting a lot of emails for brand sponsorships, okay? And I had no idea what to charge. Like I was just like, I don't know what to charge. I was managing it all myself, and I was charging like $1,000 for a 10-minute fully sponsored video, which is outrageous. Like that is so low and not worth it. It's not. It seems like a lot when you're a younger creator or a newer creator, you don't know the industry, but that's crazy because fully sponsored videos tend to really annoy your audience. If you're doing a lot of them, you're going to lose subscribers. Fully sponsored videos also tend to not get a lot of views. So if you're not getting a lot of views, you're lowering your AdSense revenue. So you have to offset the AdSense revenue that you're lowering with the sponsorship price, or you might as well just not do it because you'd make more on AdSense revenue anyway. So there's this balance, right? So I just didn't know what I was doing. And because I'm in the beauty space, there's a lot of sponsorship opportunities. Like we're booked here from now until the summer. Like every placement is filled already with sponsors. So half our year is done. And that's because the beauty space just has so much opportunity. So all these emails were coming in, and I was trying to research, film, get my models in, edit. Like it was so much work. And then on top of it, it's all these brands. They're all trying to take advantage of you. If you believe it or not, they are. They want to get the most for the least. If you don't know what you're doing, your rates are going to be crazy low. But beyond that, I couldn't manage the emails. Like it was too many emails. It was too much negotiation. Like it's a full-time job in and of itself. So I started with one manager who I found in LA, who was a referral from someone else. And it was just a really bad fit. I was just one of a billion, and he was giving me these deals that I was like, I don't even like this product, really cheap products. And I felt like he didn't get who I was, and we didn't connect. And so that didn't work out. And then when I was at Vid Summit, for those of you guys who don't know, Vid Summit's a really amazing creator conference. I met another manager in LA, and his daughter is a huge influencer, like a celebrity influencer. And him and I went for a drink. We met on the Vid Summit app, believe it or not. And he messaged me being like, you would be perfect for my you'd be perfect for my agency because we need a beauty creator that has this niche because of the brands that we work with and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, hey, we'll meet for a drink. And when I found out that he not only managed his daughter, who was huge, like she's over 3 million on TikTok, over 1 million on YouTube, huge on Instagram. She's a multi-platform creator. And he managed all her friends who were also huge LA creators. It really felt like the perfect fit because he lived in that world. He knew what other influencers were charging, what the rates were, what the affiliate packages looked like. He knew it. So then when I joined with him, it was life-changing because he already had the connections from the brands that I wanted to work with, but he had the rates, and the rates were astronomical compared to the rates I was charging. So within being with him for like 2 months, I mean, it's funny because my accountant actually saw it in my books. I joined with him in October, and October, November, December, I made such an insane amount of money that it was like flat. Like my accountant was like, what's happening? Like what on earth? And I'm like, I know it's, and so they can come off as like scammy or like they're trying to take advantage of you. But if you get the right manager, it can literally completely change your life. And that's what happened with me.
What do you think it is that people should look for in a manager? Like, I know from my experience and like spending time in creator spaces and things like that, finding a manager or someone to get you sponsorship is like this desperate desire because people think it's going to be this magic wand, easy button because they're going to be able to get representation and the brand deals are just going to come in and pour and all the kind of stuff. And I know that that's also some of the wording that gets express like through like influencer platforms, like sign up and we'll connect you to people, and then it just kind of ends up being lost. What should people be looking for in a manager, and what should the expectations be that are in place?
Yeah, so I think for one, you need someone that understands the creator space. So I would ask who else they're representing because they need to have like successful creators on their roster. Like that really speaks volumes about it, right? That's one thing. Another thing that I don't think you should assume is that your manager is going to get you all these brand deals. You're getting the brand deals. The manager is negotiating the brand deals and the contracts. So they're negotiating the usage rights. They're negotiating UGC content. They're negotiating affiliate commissions and rates, right? They're negotiating. They're not necessarily getting you the brands. Like James was connected with a lot of the brands, but most of the brands were coming to me and I was sending them to him. And so a lot of people would say to me, right, like, what's the point then? Just do it yourself. Well, the point is that he's getting you rates that you could really never get on your own unless you have all the time in the world to do it. Right? That's one. And he knows about the contractual obligations and he can set all of that up for you. So for me, it really was a no-brainer, but I know how there's a lot of like ups and downs with the manager world. It's not a ticket to get you brand deals though. You get yourself the brand deals. They're just dealing with all the rates and negotiations and contracts.
What do you mean when you say you get yourself the brand deals? You're talking about like it's your content, who you talk to the audience, like what you're building that attracts the people, and then a manager should just be facilitating the paperwork? Or are you saying like you go out and find the deals and then have the manager do the nitty gritty work?
So maybe I'm really lucky with the form of content that I make. I've never had to go out and find a deal. Like they come in every single day in email. It's like the platform I've built, the way that I present the information and the engagement of my community and how engaged the community is in the comments, that's attracting the brands. And then the brands look to work with me, and then James takes them over. Another thing that's really amazing that James did is that when we first started working together, I had already set up a lot of affiliate marketing on my own. So he said to me, he's like, I want you to download all your sales for all the brands that you talk about and link an affiliate code. And when we started doing that, we started seeing that I was selling an insane amount of product. Like I talked about a blow dryer brush and I had an affiliate code for it. And within 3 weeks, I sold $80,000 worth of blow dryer brushes. So we were able to take all of that information and put it into a master document that clearly showed to the brands, if you work with us and you spend X amount of dollars, we can almost guarantee that you're going to make this money back in 2 weeks because Gabby has done that for this brand, this brand, this brand, and this brand. Here are the numbers and the graphs to prove it. So he organized all the information that I already had into a sellable package. And so then the brands that were paying me $1,000 for a 10-minute video, they started paying me $12,000 for a 2-minute mention.
Wow.
So it changed everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think also, again, because I'm very familiar with your brand, you also have been able to expand outside of YouTube as well, where you're amplifying your earnings as well, right?
So most of my income comes from brand deals and then AdSense revenue. I have channel memberships set up, and then we do affiliates, and we have our merch line, and then that's it. That's where I've stopped it. There could be a lot of other opportunities like consulting, courses, group training, but I'm really tapped out with my time right now. And my goal is to grow the channel to 1 million. And once we get to 1 million, we're going to start looking into launching products, doing group classes. But I think you need to focus on what your goals are first and foremost, because if you spread yourself thin across multiple things, then there's no substance in each basket. You know what I mean? I'm trying to put all the substance into the one basket, grow it, and then expand when we have team members in place that can help manage the workflow.
When you're growing, are you also including, I know that your number one focus is your YouTube channel. Are you also growing on other platforms as well? And then also are those sales avenues for you as well?
So when I started, I was 100% focused on YouTube only. That's where I put all of my effort because I didn't have the team to allow for more time to do other platforms. Other platforms are very different, especially short form platforms. The way you create long form and short form is totally different. I experimented with taking my long form and doing cut downs and doing shorts from long forms. I did that for 3 months. I tested it rigorously. It never worked. Those shorts never performed very well. Shorts are intentional and you have to make them intentionally for the shorts viewer. And the shorts viewer is a different viewer than the long form viewer. So I only really put all my eggs in YouTube's basket until this fall around October. My next goal is to grow multi-platform. And then I've really started putting quite a bit of effort into Instagram because what's happening now is that we've exhausted our brand deals on YouTube. We can only do so many on YouTube before it annoys the audience. We have to distribute brand deals like carefully, and that taps out my revenue. So if I can grow Instagram to over 100,000, we can start doing a brand deal on Instagram, a brand deal on YouTube, another one. So that's what our goals have been, only starting in October, and it's been really great because I went from under 10,000 followers on Instagram in October, and now we have 24,000. So it is really growing at a pretty good rate considering it's a small platform. But before it was only YouTube for sure.
I love that you're expanding and diversifying where you are going intentionally and strategically, not just like I'm going to grow here to grow here. I'm growing here because I have this goal attached to it of what I'm trying to do over there. Do you find that you're able to funnel your YouTube audience to Instagram, your Instagram audience to YouTube?
I feel like they're different audiences. You can a bit. But because I have an older audience, they're less likely to be on Instagram. It's more of a Facebook and a YouTube audience. So I find my audience on Instagram to be younger and more hip, and my audience on YouTube to be older and more traditional, if that makes sense. So I'm curating them differently. I'm creating different styles of content for both.
Are you also posting onto Facebook as well?
So we started doing that. I just brought on a new team member who lives in the UK, and he's like a growth strategist. He does all multi-language translations. So we've started doing 47 different language translations for every video on YouTube. Yeah, and it's been really cool because some of our videos that have gone viral, 50% of those watch hours are from viewers that are watching in different languages from the subtitles. So we've massively been able to expand our reach by translating. But anyways, that's a long story, but he came on to do that type of growth strategy. So he's worked with other channels and has been able to really expand their reach. And he thinks that my content would be huge on Facebook, and he's been able to get some creators quite large on Facebook as well. So we're in the testing phase right now because Facebook for me is so small. So we're releasing videos 3 to 4 times a week, shorts on Facebook. And we're collecting data to see what type of viewer behavior we have on there before we start curating content specifically for Facebook.
I love that. I know that I'm going to get a lot of hate on this, but I love Facebook. I think for me, I've been on it for so long. I'm 38, so I'm in the elder millennial part. Like, Facebook was made by my people, by like the people of my age. And so it's very hard to give up. And for me, like, all these other social networks have come in and out of vogue and popularity, and they get monopolized and ate up by marketing and all this stuff. But somehow Facebook, like, even though it has its struggles and its problems, I don't think it's like perfect in any way, shape, or form, but it stays true. And to me, I think the reason is because at the end of the day, it's about like user to user interaction. It's literally about friends and talking to people and relating to them and being able to share and connect. And I think you as an individual who is building out your own account to have that reach is going to be really, it's going to be really incredible for you. I think you're going to be really surprised at how abundant Facebook could really be for you.
Yeah, I know that Facebook monetization is really good too. I've had some creators that have been monetized on Facebook. I know that, I don't know this for facts. I don't know a lot about the algorithm on Facebook, but what I've heard, it's much easier to get a lot more views, and the monetization opportunities are huge, and you can make so much money on Facebook, which is really cool. And my audience lives on Facebook. Like, my YouTube audience lives on Facebook for sure.
And I think that it's important. This is where understanding your audience is so valuable and so important, because you're going to be able to spend time in places that you wouldn't think about. This is why, like, maybe repurposing your content to a blog would not make sense for you, but maybe a new place for you to go would be like for Pinterest or something like that as you continue to expand your reach and where you're going. This is why testing is so important. I love what you said about like tracking the data and seeing like what can work for you based on trying things out, which I know everyone hates testing so much, but it's the best way to figure out where you should go and what you should do there and like where you should put your time. So I love that.
Something else I want to mention to your viewers too is that I think as creators, like, we are often very creative and we're good at our trade, but we need to recognize our limitations. And this was something that I struggled with so much before. I was like a super control freak where everything had to be done by me, and I was the only one that could do it and no one else. And you encouraged me way back when I was a much smaller creator to get an editing team. And I'm like, there's no way I'm not spending that much money. Honestly, you have to know where you're good and where you're not. And where you're not, you need to hire people that are better, because when you do that, you will make that money up so fast. Like, hiring my editing team was costly in the beginning, but I generated so much more views because the videos were so much better that it offset the cost immediately. It's the same with this growth strategist guy in the UK. Like, he is worth every cent because he does things in a strategic way. He's better strategically than I am. I'm creative. I know my audience. I can do a beautiful makeup application on a woman who's 70. Can I do 47 language multi-translation? No. And I could learn, but I need to know where to put my time. And you need to put your time in the things that are going to give better payoff, and give other people the time to do other things for the channel that will pay off as well.
You have to know your realm of genius. Like, you have to own what you are great at. I am 1000% with you. You have to be able to understand what you're good at and understand that it's not just about what you're good at. It's all the things that you have to do to support it as well. Like this podcast. I have spent years cultivating a relationships with creators, going to events, talking with people. I feel into a good place where I'm good at listening and I'm good at commenting. I'm good at contributing. I'm good at asking questions because I'm so innately curious. And so I'm able to do that. I also know how I want this to look at the end and how I want this to flow. Like I take notes while we're talking about specific points or things to cut out or things to ask you or things to make sure that end up on the screen and stuff like that. And I go meticulously through the edits to make sure it's good. Your girl is not editing these things. I'm not doing that. There are other things that I'm also not really great at too, which is like show notes and publishing everything and making sure all the little details are in place. Do I know what those details are? Yes. Do I have a checklist that we go through whenever we publish something? Yes. But I am not the one doing that. I am setting the terms and conditions and pacing for something and giving them to the people that can do it, because every minute, every hour that I am doing administrative work or detail work or email answering or any of that kind of stuff is taking away from the thing that I am great at. That is what is actually the thing that makes money. And as creatives, innately, like that's what we are as creators, it's so easy for us to get lost and distracted by the details. So just put the people in place one at a time, of course, to take over tasks that are keeping you from income producing activities, because the moment you're not creating, that means that you're not doing something that can be creating you income. The fact that you have an editor, you have a manager, you have this person that's taking care of stuff for you, and I'm sure you have other people in place, you have been able to triple, quadruple, 5x your income because of those things. So you can do what you do great, which is what everyone loves you for.
That's exactly it. And like, if you're struggling as a creator to do that, what you should do and what I did is do like a week in your life, and every task you do, writing the description, optimizing for SEO, affiliate linking, editing, scripting, filming, write everything you do, even things that seem mundane, like creating a graphic, write it down. Then at the very end of the week, look at that list and think, what can I outsource? Like, what needs my genius? And I say genius loosely. I don't think I'm a genius, but I'm good at what I'm good at. What are those tasks that no one can do but me for success? And what are those tasks that someone else can do better, right? Thumbnail design, someone else does it better than me. Editing, someone else does it better than me. Contracts for sponsorships, like, God damn, someone else does it better than me. I don't even want to do it. And you gotta like push that to those people and save your mental energy and resource for the things that you're the best at and that you can push forward.
100%. Could not say that better myself.
Yeah.
I always love to ask this question to people because I think it's so important for us to learn from other people's failures or bad things that have happened to them. Can you share with us a bad income experience that you have had on your creator journey?
So at the beginning, for sure, you're going to get people, if you don't have help with contracts and management, and at first you might not even be able to get a manager because you're too small, but you're still getting brands coming to you. You may give everything for nothing. I've worked with brands, especially when I was smaller, where I was doing the most insane amount of work. It was full usage rights. They were repurposing that content for a million different ads, like even ads. They were using that content for a full year worth of ads on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. And I was charging like, I think the one brand I charged like $500 total. I did 3 videos for them, long form, and all of those long form were put into cut downs for ads for a full year. And that is like, it is beyond taking advantage as a creator. And I think when you're small, you don't feel like you have any value, but you have such a tremendous amount of value, even as a small creator. And if that brand was hiring a model and a videographer and an editor and creating and doing this whole curated ad, they would have spent tens of thousands of dollars. So they're looking for these small creators to take advantage of. And if you're not smart with it, and I wasn't smart with it, you will get taken advantage of like crazy.
100%. The thing that's always hard to remember is we as creators sometimes feel like we do not have power, but we might not. I think a better way to look at it is that you have skills that they don't have. It requires so much more work for them and compliance and regulations and things like that for companies to have that stuff done for them. And that's why they're coming to you. And the reason they're probably lowballing you is because they're trying to do a lot with the little, and or they're trying to just get what they want for a lower amount of money. And I would almost argue that if they do not argue with you or question your rates, you're probably doing it for too cheap.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. You really need perspective with that.
Yes. So you had mentioned earlier, like what your revenue streams were, and we had the pie chart on the screen for that. But again, I want to take a moment to break down what these are so that we can give each one its due attention. So the first thing that you have on here is AdSense, which is your second highest income stream at 30%. You have your sponsorships, which is 40% of your income, and then you have affiliates at 15%. Where are you getting your affiliates from? Is it from the brands you're working with? Is this from Amazon? Like, where do your affiliates lie?
I made this change within the last 8 months and it's been mind blowing. You can you can sign up for affiliate portals that have a multitude of different products. So the one that I use most of the time is called ShopMy. So you have to apply for it. You have to be a creator and then you get accepted into the program. If you're a creator, you most likely will get accepted, and you have this back end where you can search for links. And almost every brand, I've ever worked with or talked about is associated with ShopMy. So in my description box, when I do any type of tutorial, every single link, I'm not kidding, every single link, and there's like 50 links in every video, every single one is an affiliate link. And so on ShopMy, you can go like Mac Paint Pot and like a billion of them will show up, and you can choose which store you want to link to, and the commission rates are different based on the stores. So Ulta gives me 13% commission, which is really good, whereas maybe Sephora is 9% commission. So I'll link to Ulta instead of Sephora. So that's one. 90% of my links are done through ShopMy, and then they pay me out once a month. And you can see everything. You can see how many people clicked on the link, how many people purchased the link. So that's really helpful. And then there's Amazon as well. I find Amazon to be terrible, to be honest. Like the rates are so low. Like you have to sell a crazy amount of products to even make like $100. Whereas on ShopMy, the first month that I was on that portal, I made $10,000 in 1 month, because the rates are higher.
And that's important for us to know. Everyone goes into the Amazon stuff. Like I'm in the Amazon program. I have talked about the Amazon influencer program, great length, and done tons of coaching and stuff about it. But it's still the most of a percentage that you can get on anything is like 4%.
I know.
And it's like only for like home furniture goods. And while it might sound like a good idea because it's the biggest, so obviously in theory it has the most visitors, people are most likely to buy. When you can find things with higher percentages and people are like, I want what you have done this instant, and they will go and click and they will buy because everyone has their credit card information saved on their phones. Yeah. And it just works really seamlessly for you to do it.
Well, there's another one that's even better than ShopMy. I just had a meeting with the representative there, and it's called Howler. And Howler, they sometimes have rates that are like 20-30%. It's crazy. I have a creator friend who's in the skincare creator space, and she's made $40,000 in affiliates a month on Howler, because she'll go into the affiliate portal first. She'll see which products are doing really high commissions, and then she'll make videos specifically about those products. So she's almost doing like a brand deal, but it's affiliate based brand deal, because she knows this month this specific brand is giving 40% commission, so I'm going to make a video about that. So that's a really strategic way to increase your income as well.
Just out of curiosity, is she doing that on YouTube, or is she doing that with like TikTok or Instagram?
She does it on YouTube.
Wow, that's even more wildly amazing, because I know TikTok Shop and all of that has like linking and stuff, and that I've heard people have that kind of success there, but to get it from YouTube is also amazing. So Howler, again, we'll have the information for all of these things too over on our show notes that you can find at thefunnedyoutuber.com as well. Okay, so let's keep going through your income streams. So you also have some merch. What's some of the merch that you have created that makes up 5% of your income?
Yeah, so I don't push my merch at all. My YouTube partner keeps telling me, you need to push your merch. And I'm like, whatever. But we've done some really cute things. So because I have an older audience demographic and I do a lot of mature makeup tutorials, we have a whole little series of merch that says, call me Glamma. So it's like sweatshirts, yeah, t-shirts, those sell relatively well. We have we have Glam Girl water bottles. We have like hoodies that at the back just say Glam Girl with a big heart. So those are really just sold to my diehard fans, like my fans that just love me, want to support me. They'll buy the merch, but I don't push it, which I know I should.
It's fine. I think if it happens passively, that's kind of the genius of it. You
Yeah.
also have 5% of membership. Is that on the membership through your YouTube channel or through another platform?
Yeah, that channel memberships on YouTube. That's another thing that I put on very passively because I really didn't think I would have the time to do members only live streams or members only videos. If you offer members only live streams or videos, I think you can get more money for your memberships and you can also sell a lot more memberships. For me, when I made my memberships video, so when they're about to join or sign up, there's a video of me that explains what this is. I really just said like, if you join this, you're helping to fund me so that I can create more free content for you. They get emojis, which is like my face in all these really funny ways that they can use. So they'll comment and then they'll say like, we love this video. And then instead of putting a smiley emoji, it's like my face like smiling.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they get these custom emojis and they get badges, but that's all they get. So that's a completely, oh, and I prioritize their comments. So every morning I see which member left a comment and I'll make sure to give advice or helpful tips to those viewers. But that's how I ran that because a lot of people feel like if you're going to do memberships, you have to give so much. You really don't. You just have to make it a place where your fans can support you. And so many people are willing to do that.
I think that that's totally fine. It's almost like it's not a membership so much as it is like a donation for support in
Yes.
exchange for like those emojis and the like preferential treatment in comments, which I think is I think that's a super give, especially if it's only for, a $5-10 a month sort of thing, because every little bit does definitely count. And then,
Yeah.
of course, you have your last 5% is for Amazon and creator programs, which we already talked about a little bit when we were going over the affiliate stuff. So my question for you as we wrap up our talk today is, what is your next financial money move?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think the next thing I really want to do once we get closer to 1 million is create a product line. We've already been looking at some different types of products that I love using, but that have issues and trying to come up with ways to solve those issues and launching that. I think that will be huge. When a creator that has a really strong community launches a product line, you're looking at multi-million-dollar sales quite quickly. And I've seen so many of my creator friends do that with platforms that are much smaller than mine. So, creating these really quality products is great. That's a whole other endeavor that I'm not 100% sure I'm ready for yet. But we've definitely been brainstorming and thinking about that.
I think that that is a fantastic way for you to blow up and glow up more in 2024. And I can't wait for us to continue to follow along with your journey. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing how you've been able to build success so that other creators, especially those who are in the beauty space, can get a better roadmap so that they can find that financial success as well. You can find everything about what Gabi has talked about, as well as links to her social platforms over on our show notes at thefundedyoutuber.com. Until next time, thank you. Goodbye. The Funded YouTuber is brought to you by GigaStar, a parent company of GigaStar Market, an SEC-registered funding portal and member of FINRA. Learn more at gigastar.io. Music provided by APM Music, unrivaled music to bring your stories to life. Neither GigaStar nor its affiliated companies provide legal, regulatory, financial, or tax advice. Any opinions expressed herein are those of the authors and are the informational purposes only. The information and opinions expressed herein are subject to change without notice and do not take into account the particular investments, objectives, financial situation, or needs of any specific investors.